What's up everyone, welcome to the channel. I'm Harrison and you are here for Tutorial Tuesday. Today we are drawing one of the most rash characters, at least one that I can think of right off the top of the head, and that is Inosuke from Demon Slayer. So grab your pencils, pens, sketchbooks, and jagged katanas and let's slash and hack our way into this one. Right in the center of our page, let's go ahead and start with a nice big circle as always. From there, we're gonna divide this circle in quarters. And then we're gonna draw another giant circle in the center. Right next to this circle, go ahead and draw another circle and another circle. This is gonna help us get Inosuke's boar mask details complete. Moving along, we can start adding some details to these eyes to help us shape the face part of the mask, and then we can add all the external details. So starting with the nose, the tip of the nose comes to right where the height of the eyes, and it comes to almost a point, but not exactly. So we can go ahead and just turn this circle into a triangle. Just to have the basic shape. From there, you can break off that triangle, and then it's gonna come into a point here. Just like so, and then we'll work on rounding out all of these edges. So using this as our base shape, we're gonna go through and make sure everything is nice and rounded. Using that triangle just helps us get the general idea of the shape that we want to follow. And then for the base of the nose, it's only gonna come up just a slight touch. Just like so, and then he's got a little lip at the bottom. And then and then to get the interior of the nose, we can just follow the same shape. So we're gonna split the nose in half using 2 lines. And then inside, we're just gonna follow the shape we made. Just like such. And you can go ahead and shade that in. And boom, there's the nose done and out of the way. Now we can start focusing on the eyes. So the eyes on Inosuke's boar's head they come to a bit of a point. So using the shape of that circle we drew, go ahead and turn them into like an almond, kind of like a teardrop shape. And then this right eye, focus on, like that. And he's got interior. And then we'll draw the pupil, and then there's like a little outline inside. And then we can do the exact same thing on this opposite eye. And his eyes should look reverse cross-eyed, so they should be facing outwards. And then for the tusks, go ahead and draw a little egg shape here, another egg shape here, and then we'll start adding our detail to this. This will come to a point and it will intersect with the nose, and just almost like a triangle, you're gonna draw an edge and then meet that back up there. And then we're gonna mirror the same shape on this side. So straight line to a point, make a triangle, angle that down, and come to a point. And then you can start adding some detail to make it look like it's 3D. Just like that. And this is the face of Inosuke's boar helmet. Mask. His boar mask. Now, how do we get the shape of the head? We have the details, we have the features. Now, how do we get the shape? So using the top of this circle, we are going to follow the edges, and the base will be about here. So if you think, if you think about it as from about the bottom lip to the top of the head, you should have that exact amount of distance to the base of the boar mask, give or take. You can roughly estimate it, but we're going to take this bottom, but we're going to take the top of the head and kind of just make this shape. I know it looks ridiculous. Don't worry. This is not going to be the end result. And then you can curve it off. It's like no face with a boar face. And then the next thing we can do is add the ears. So in the same plane as the eyeballs, we're going to draw 2 triangles. You want them on the same plane. 2 triangles. They should be nice and wide. And then you can add detail from there. So on the inside, we want to make sure that we see some depth in these ears. So I'm just gonna draw the interiors. Then you can give them some shape and form and some texture. And then we can mirror this on this exact same side. Okay, great. Now, how do we get the rest of it to look like the boar mask? So, using this path, we're going to start adding some shapes and swoops of hair. So following this, we'll add a swoop. And then from here, you can just start adding. And then from here, you can just start adding in the detail. The base of the boar's mask is just some jagged edges, and then we want to add a few here to show the separation of the underneath to the top of the face. And then once we have that, we can go back in and start adding different strands of hair just to show that there's like a weave of, fur pelt. And then the same thing at the top. And then the last thing we want to do is put Inosuke on a body so that he's not just a floating board head. So we're going to draw a shoulder. And to do this, just start with a ball. And then on this side, you're going to do the same thing. Start with a ball. And it's okay if it goes off your page. You're going to add a second ball here for his bicep. And then add an elongated oval. And then swoop it out to connect that. So we're drawing a shoulder, bicep, tricep. This oval will be the forearm. And then same thing on the side, shoulder, bicep. And then you can draw another ball here for the other forearm. And then this will shoot out a little line and then go down. And then you'll want this line to connect here, just like so. Now, before this gets too messy, I'm going to take my 6B pencil so you can see what I'm doing a little bit easier. So we're just going to go through and outline some of these lines. And I'm just giving form to the shoulder, the bicep, and the forearm here. Now I'm skipping this area on purpose because we're going to come back to it in just a second. All right, so now that we have all of this detail accounted for, we're going to draw his hand. And I know we've never drawn hands on this channel before. So here we go, and it's not going to be a very hard, difficult hand, but it is a hand with some fingers. So Inosuke's hand is resting on his bicep here. So we're going to draw a swoop, and then we're going to draw basically a triangle. His hand is resting just like this. So as long as you have this triangle shape, and I'll darken it just so you can see. So we're gonna draw like a C, and draw a line, and then a triangle. And then from here you can draw a guideline. Cut that in half so you have 2 triangles. And then from here we can start adding in our fingers. So you can see 4 fingers in this angle. So 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so you have 4 fingers. And this bottom one is going to get cut off because it's just the back of the pinky. And then you're going to follow this curve and draw a little swoop up and down. And then you're going to follow it and swoop up. Oops. So just follow the shapes. So swoop up into that. Top side should be flat. Follow that triangle. We're going to move to the next finger. It's going to jut out just a little bit. Keep it flat. Follow that down. Same thing with the next one. It's going to jut out just a little bit. Curve up, stay flat. Round out the knuckle and down. And then the last one, because your pointer finger is behind your middle finger, you're going to come back in, round that, follow that curve and down, and there you go. Now we can add the nails, and that's Inosuke's hand. And then you can add back the bicep detail. Actually, these lines should be a little bit lower. And then here, if you want, you see the part of the chest, add some chest detail. All right, and that's everything we need for Inosuke. We got a little advanced here with the arms and the hands. I'm glad we got into that territory. I think moving forward, I should put us into some of that more territory, give you guys some challenges instead of just, heads and bodies. So let's move on to the inking. And yes, I am going back to my dip pen and ink. It's been a while, I know. Last video I did it and I missed it. It made me remember that I missed doing that. So here we go. You do not need to use a dip pen and ink to achieve the inking techniques in today's lesson. You can use a Micron, a Sharpie, whatever you have whatever tool you have at your disposal, please go ahead and use that. All of our inking techniques are always the same. You're going to start left to right, top to bottom, and make sure you're inking deliberately with purpose and that everything is done on purpose. And all right, there's the inking. Before I stop and wait to let it dry, I just feel like it's missing something. And the whole time I've been inking Inosuke, I've been trying to figure out what this piece needs, and I think it needs some zip, some pop. So I am going to take my brush, load it up with a bunch of ink, and we're just gonna splatter this guy. Inosuke is a very dirty, grimy character, and I feel like adding this really sells the effect. Now, there's no coming back from this. Let's say I decided I did not like it. It's too bad. There's no amount of whiteout that will save this. I would have to pretty much take my light box and trace over this drawing and do it that way. Like, for instance, there's some ink in the eyes. It's fine. It's, you know, that's what it is. But I do think this adds such a layer of grit and grime. It really kind of showcases how just like wild Inosuke is. That he's from the woods and the wilderness, and this is just, you know, what it is. And I love it. I always love adding these little, you know, bits of pop to my drawings. I think it just adds something nice and a bit of character. So now that we are done with that, we're gonna let this sit and wait and dry for about 20 to 30 minutes, depending. There is some large chunks of ink. There are some splats that are pretty thick. So we're gonna set this aside, come back to it, and hopefully it is nice and dry. Okay, it has been about 20 plus minutes that we've waited. I did test it. It looks like we got a little smudge, but you know, it just adds to the grit and grime. So using my kneaded eraser, I'm gonna go through and erase everything we no longer need. All right, and here we go. Here is Inosuke. I love this drawing. I am such a fan of this drawing. I love Inosuke as a character. Demon Slayer is an amazing anime. This is my first attempt at a character from Demon Slayer, and I think I just nailed it and hit it out of the park. Personally, I love this. I hope you guys enjoyed today's lesson. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. And once you do, hit that bell notification so you know when I upload the next tutorial Tuesday. If for some reason you did not enjoy today's lesson, please let me know down in the comments why that is. I would love to help you know the characters that you would like to know how to draw. And on that note, if there's a character that you have yet to see in the playlist, please let me know who that is, and I would be glad to add them to the ongoing list so that you can draw all of the characters that you would love to know how to draw and add to your sketchbooks. On that note, if you've been following along with Tutorial Tuesday for the last 8 or 9 months, I would love to see all of the progress that you're making. Please tag me on Instagram or TikTok, and I would be happy to check out your work. You can also follow me there and see everything I am doing day to day, as well as the other tips and tricks I'm posting frequently. Thank you so much again for joining me on another awesome Tutorial Tuesday. Keep drawing, keep practicing, sharpen those katanas, and I will see you right back here next week with another fun tutorial. Bye, guys.
I swear I'm gonna find your weak point and bring you down!
I have a name, you know. It's Tanjiro Kamado.
Alright, Gunpachiro Kamapoko. I'm gonna bring you down!